Welcome back aboard. We are pretty much right where we left off, sailing north into St. George's Canal. But the important item of the moment is that we have just received a radio message from FDU, which would be Admiral Dennett's, to U-46, dated 1939, September 4th. By order of the Führer, no hostile action is to be taken against passenger ships sailing independently or in convoy. And I presume that this has something to do with the sinking of the Athenia yesterday and the big ol' stink that resulted, and Germany not wanting to admit any fault at this time. Indeed, they didn't admit any fault whatsoever until after the war. So we're going to keep that quiet for now, and we're going to carry on towards my objective. I mean, no one told us to go here, but as we know, we've completed our objective. We patrolled BF-16 for 24 hours, and then a month or so thereafter, so I will come back if we should make contact with an enemy vessel. Well, we have a ship sailing south-southwest at medium speed, which we should be more than able to intercept because they're pretty much paralleling our course going in the opposite direction. I'll turn on the helper so that we can figure out approximately what we're looking at with south-southwest, so 45. It's probably moving something like that. And at this time of the day, let's see, we'd be pretty reliably able to spot a target, probably definitely within 10 kilometers, so I'll just draw a big old circle in that shape at both ends of our intended search area. This ship is not very far away. I imagine we'll be able to spot it pretty quickly once we begin to pursue. Okay. In that case, I will alter our course and increase speed as well to make the intercept. And that should be reasonable. I mean, medium speed is probably anywhere between about 8 and maybe 11 knots. So, since it's a short distance, we'll actually bump it up to a head full to close the distance. Because, I mean, south-southwest is not the most precise thing, because it could be going like that, or like that, but we'll definitely see it if it should happen to cross our path. It's about, let's see, local, okay, we're still on the same, okay, local time is 1827, so this time of year, I guess it's September, it'll start getting dark pretty soon, which is good, so we should be able to engage the target probably right around sunset, if not shortly before. Might still be daylight. We'll see. Alright, so I have us going to periscope depth. We've come to pretty much my intended spot where I was trying to find the target. And we haven't made visual contact yet, but what I want to do is check the hydrophone. Because even though surface visibility is pretty good, we can probably still hear something that's... What? Stop that! I want to move... There we are. So, bring the UI back. I'll bring us actually to a complete stop. And I'll have a little listen. I imagine they'll be... probably anywhere in the starboard half, but so we listen very carefully. Yeah, I don't hear anything, do you? Whoa. That's something. You hear that? Propeller sounds, bearing 084. This is why it pays to listen to the hydrophone yourself. Because occasionally you pick up things that you otherwise wouldn't. He's got to be far away. That's probably at least 20 kilometers. But that's okay. Alright then, surface. And we'll parallel his expected course. Where did we go? And we'll let it run at a head standard just for the sake of expediency. Though actually we won't. We got time to kill before dark anyway. It's not essential, but I'd rather engage at night. So, oh, you're gonna get a little wet up there. Okay, now we're coming up to the surface. All right. The next sound you hear should be the sound of the crew spotting a merchant, hopefully. Warship would be fun. And there he is, and I didn't get a report from my watch crew, a testament to their eternal incompetence, and hopefully not a bug. So we're going to take her down to periscope depth again. And we'll come to port, steer 300 for now. Yeah, that's going to be a medium cargo. Well, let's get to work identifying it straight away then. I mean, I know what it is, so I'm just scrolling through. Come on. Come on. Medium cargo. Scope the rest of the way up. Okay, we'll mark that. We have an interesting system for targeting with the set of mods that I'm using, because we have this thing, although we probably won't use it. We have all the regular vanilla tools, and we can also manipulate the TDC manually from here. And I'll probably be using a mix of these as I see fit, because I've come up with a pretty good method for coming up with shooting solutions with everything that's available here. So that's all good. And we've locked it in. I want to be reasonably square with the ship. We'll see what we can do in the way of that. Yeah, we should be pretty much perfectly square with it on heading 300 there. That's good, because the thing you can do with that is it's really helpful for determining angle on bow, and I'll sort of demonstrate why once we have straightened up. Which we basically have, because what you can do is you can set your reticle to 0, and then I can hit Control T is how I engage and disengage the TDC, and set it to 90 degrees, because that's what it would be if the ship were directly perpendicular with us. And it's kind of a good starting point for figuring out what it is from there. And so right now it'd be about 35 degrees or so. And our scope just went blurry because of our speed. That's part of the, I believe it's H.ISE's hard-coded fixes for Silent Hunter 3s that add some things like that. Make your periscope blurry if you're going too fast, so we'll reduce our speed. We'll come to a complete stop before we do too many computations, especially in the way of speed. Because if we're moving, it can mess with that in a manner which would not necessarily be helpful. Since he's still 60 degrees off our side, we'll let ourselves come a little closer before we start doing our computations. Okay. Whoops. A little closer. A little closer. Can't be going very fast, all things considered, with how we're doing. Okay, I'll stop. There we go. I do like to get as close as I can for my torpedo shots, obviously, because it just reduces the effect that any errors could possibly have. In the way of torpedoes, which we have yet to fire, although we have sunk a ship with our gun, but that was a somewhat unique situation. We have all Type 1s, which would have been pretty standard for early in the war, and I think I'm probably going to keep it that way for future patrols, because the Type 2 G70 torpedoes, a marvel of technology though they are pretty faulty, especially early in the war. So I might not take to using them quite so much. And the first thing that I'm going to do... Actually, we've already got our angle of bow that we're going to work with for now, because I'm pretty satisfied with it, that we're square with the ship. Is once we come to a stop, which we basically have, I'd like to do a speed reading by timing the ship as it crosses the reticle. So, as a way to determine the ship's speed. On it goes. I can time compress this probably, but I won't too much so we don't miss it. It will be slightly skewed at this angle because we can't completely see the front and back of the ship, but it'll be close enough. Okay. And conveniently on our timepiece here, we have a couple of rings on the inside that'll give us the speed of various lengths of ship. And the closest one's 150 meters, and the ship length is 140.5. So, and with that, it's reading about a little over 7.5 knots, closer to 8 knots. To compensate for the difference in ship length, we'll just lock in 7.5 knots as our speed reading. I might time the ship again as it gets closer if we have time. Just to try and get a more accurate reading. We can... But we can also use this for speed computations. In fact, I will cross-reference against that. So our time was 38 seconds. 8, and ship length is 140.5 meters. Oh dear. I might be doing this wrong, but that's giving us a speed of... I think this is the caret for speed. I'm not sure how this works with this set of mods. That's giving us 4 knots. I don't think that's right. And if we're supposed to read it under this one, I think 8.5 knots might be... a little fast. Okay. We won't worry about that just yet, because I'm going to take a range reading, and we'll use the basic stadimeter for that. It's giving us a range of 2,338 meters. Okay. And that messed up my angle on bow. You gotta be careful with that. Oh, no, unlock. There we go. Okay, we'll redo that. Okay. I'm actually going to take a second reading, just... Okay, and then this should... Nope, still buggers with my AOB. Not supposed to do that. Okay. I'll need to sort that out, how to deal with that. There we go. Anyway, lock that back in. Satisfied with the range reading, 2,300 meters. But what I will do is time the ship again. Get a second speed reading, because I'm not so sure about the speed. I think he could be doing anywhere between about 7.5 and 8.5 knots, and I'd like to nail it down before we shoot if I possibly can. Yeah, because we're going to get a different time this time, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to get about 8.5 knots, I think. Yep. Okay, so we actually do use this carrot for the speed. Okay. Good to know. Get rid of that. I'll notch the speed up to 8.5 knots then. I'm pretty confident with that. And where will our gyro angle be? 0. Right there. On bearing 0, 1, 2. Okay, we'll prepare our torpedoes then. We'll use tubes 1 and 2. We'll do impact shots at high speed, just to minimize the chances that the ship can maneuver to evade them. Its draft is 9.2 meters. Set our torpedo depth slightly low, because hitting lower on the hull is generally a good thing, but not so low that they're going to bounce off. So we'll try just shy of 6 meters. Actually, I will take an additional range reading before we shoot. Okay, that's 90, 80. Okay, now I know what to do with this. AOB is going to be 70. And we'll take another range reading, put that right on the waterline, because he'll have gotten closer. 2,000 meters. I think that's probably a little far, but we'll see. But range isn't so tremendously... It's probably the least important of the 3 ratings that you take, but still good to have an accurate one. I wouldn't put him beyond actually being that far away, so I'll stick with my existing range reading. My first aiming point is going to be his 3rd mast there. And we'll open the tube, get ready to shoot. And my second aiming point is going to be his engine house. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go just aft of his 2nd mast for my first shot. Just to help our margin for error just a little bit. Gyro angle right on 0, so we're spitting the torpedoes right out the front, shortest possible range. Tube is open. Eins, los! And make ready tube 2. That's definitely a British ship, so you can see from his ensign there. Tube 2, los! And I'll let my scope sit lower in the water. I'd be appalled if you were to see it, because merchants, especially early in the war, tend not to be quite so vigilant. But still, can't be too careful. Can we see our torpedo wakes? They'll be right on bearing 0. Okay. We'll use our free camera. We'll take a look. It's not that cheaty. You think these shots are looking pretty good? All things considered. I think we're pretty much they're gonna go pretty much right where we aimed them. Maybe slightly ahead. I'll go back to my scope now and put it rest of the way up. Since he is done. I think we're gonna get hits. Got an event camera. Uh-oh. That's gonna be a hit. Probably slightly forward of my intended aiming point. Ooh. Touched off of fire on the forward deck. Number 2. Number 2. I think our second torpedo might have failed. Let's see what happened. Yep. Did it? Oh, yeah. Second torpedo ran deep, I'm gonna say. That's not tremendously uncommon at this point in the war, but I don't know. This might do him in. I'm going to bring our speed up and parallel his course. And possibly put an additional torpedo into him if need be. But we'll see what he does for now. And since we hit him so far forward, we won't have damaged his engine, so his propellers will still be turning. So we'll see if one torpedo was enough to sink it. I'll be a little bit surprised if it was, though, with these sorts of ships. I tend to be able to usually... Sometimes they'll even take 2. Which doesn't make them such brilliant targets, really, because they're just shy of 5,000 tons. But, I mean, given that you have to hit them with 2 torpedoes. I mean, if you could reliably sink them with 1, or probably even reliably sink them with 2, they'd be a worthwhile target. But, what am I saying? I mean, pretty much everything's a worthwhile target, really. Unless it's just a wretched scow. In which case we use the gun. Let's snoop. Let's see how he's doing. Any listing at this time? Maybe a little bit, actually. Not making such fantastic speed. These ships are pretty fast. I think they can make, yeah, 16 knots. Oh well, we will see what he does, and I'll probably cut to the next event of interest. Hopefully it'll be a sinking, but we'll see. Okay, so I've managed to get us in front of him again, and he's just been listing like this for quite some time, like for about an hour now, I think. But I'm still not convinced of whether or not we should take a second shot. I've positioned us to do so, but I don't know, he seems to be sitting low in the water to a greater degree now than he was before, and has considerably reduced speed. Really, the logical move would be probably to finish it off with the deck gun if we were to be so inclined. Which I'm still considering doing, however... Yeah, because he's definitely not armed. At this point in the war, yeah, we would be exceptionally... well, it would be exceptionally uncommon for us to come across an armed merchant, I guess is the... idea. Yeah, I think we can finish it off with the deck gun. Surface! So I think it would be wasteful to fire an additional torpedo at this point. Especially since there's a pretty good chance this ship will just sink on its own, but I've gotten impatient enough that I am not willing to just wait around for that to happen. Conditions are calm enough for us to use the guns, right? Yes. Get back on the bridge. I had him in the bow torpedo room. He should go back to the bridge automatically. Another convenient thing of having done the hard-coded fixes for Silent Hunter 3. We don't have a dedicated gunner, do we? In that case, give me that gun. Come on. Bring it around. Not enough crew in the diesel compartment. Let's actually sort that out. Now you should. Now give me a gun crew. Come on, turn. Turn the gun, what's wrong with you? There we go. Is there some kind of limit that I was unaware of? Oh no, there it goes. Okay. Can't be more than 500 meters away, so we'll see if we can hit the water line. Perfect! I'll aim for the engine. Ooh! A little bit swamped. I'll aim for the engine house since his propeller's still turning, as far as I can tell. Still smoke coming out of his stack. Yeah. Interesting, I can't quite aim the gun with the mouse universally. Blech! We can't fire it while it's underwater. Whoa! Okay, that wasn't supposed to do that. Let's actually get us moving so we don't sit low in the water like this. Not too fast, don't get carried away, but... I mean, we're so close, we really can't miss, but... Wow! The hell? Where'd that go? You aiming the gun high again? Yeah. It's not the best shooting weather. Come on. Yeah, that one went over too. Okay. Oh, it's because the boat's pitching like this. Okay. Wait until the gun is low. Oh, what the... We're having some fun with the gun today. There we go. Now we're stable. And it hit the top of a wave. Crap! Try that. How about now? There we go. Now we're working. We're sort of close to the upper limit with regards to waves where effective gunnery is particularly possible, it would seem. It's kind of a useless hit, but at least it's a hit. Bring us alongside. Good grief. It's because the boat's rolling so much that you can, as you can see here. Maybe if we can parallel the swells of the waves, we can do something about that. Alright, give me the gun. Let's let the crew take a whack at it. Hey. Actually, no, bring us back to starboard. Stop it! Stop wasting shells to the same degree that I was. You know, just stop. There we go. This is becoming more of a chore than I'd expected, but I am not expecting this bucket over here to take too many rounds. Fire! Hey, that was actually on the waterline. Oh, we knocked a box off and a mast. I don't think we need to really fire any more rounds. Except that one. Oh yeah, she is going down. Secure the gun. Okay. Well done, Manna. Oh, what were you carrying? Tea? Earl Grey? Hot? Probably not hot if it's still in boxes. Shut up. Anyway, she's going down. And that's 5,000 tons for us, bringing our patrol total to around 15 or 16,000. Be just shy of 16,000, actually. Down she goes. Excellent. Let's be morbid. Let's watch it go down. Let's be gratuitous. Maybe her boilers will blow up as she goes down. Oh, what a sound. Propeller sticking out of the water. Bye! Water's really not that deep here, but still. It's not like you're plunging into the briny depths of the Atlantic where, you know, so deep no light gets down there. Though I don't think any light really gets below more than maybe 1,000 meters, so there you go. Water so shallow his butt's gonna stick out of the water. Although it's probably gonna come down and just settle onto the bottom. Unless someone filled a big bag of air back here. Whatever. Let's resume our course. No, don't. I want this. forget it. Up here, and then we'll sort of zigzag through the canal and see what we can find. Try not to miss too much, but keep close to the center. And we did consume a fair amount of battery power, keeping up with this old tub as it was failing to sink. But should be no trouble whatsoever to recharge it. And night is falling. So if we get additional contact this evening, that would be fantastic, but we'll see.